All right, this is the story of a little girl who died and came back, but when she returned was not the same. She had memories of another life, memories of a world she had never seen, a world from thousands of years ago, a life that should have been is the true story of Dorothy Ediand, the evidence of reincarnation that still baffles scientists today. Dorothy Edie was 3 years old when she fell down a flight of stairs, hit her head hard, wasn't breathing. Her parents called the doctor, checked her pulse, there was nothing. Dorothy Edie was dead. The doctor told her parents there was nothing they could do. Left to prepare her death certificate. An hour later something impossible happened. There was a sound shuffling come from Dorothy's room. Thea ran upstairs and there she was sitting up, laying like nothing had happened. No signs of injury, no memory of what had happened, just a smile on her faces. If she had never left, doctor had no explanation, but Dorothy's parents soon realized little girl who had returned was not the same. At first, the changes were small. Dorothy would wake up crying in the night, screaming about a strange place she had never been, a place she called home-ish. Spoke of huge buildings with tall columns, green gardens, and flowing water, a place filled with golden light. Begged her parents, I want to go home. But when they told her, you are home, she would shake her head. No, this is not my home. She couldn't explain why she felt this way, she just knew she didn't belong. Herein then things got even stranger. Dorothy started speaking in a strange accent. A heavy foreign voice would sometimes come out of her. It didn't sound like a child, it sounded like an old woman. She started doing things no child should do. She would hide under the dining table for hoarse whispering to herself. When her parents asked what she was doing, she said, I'm waiting to go home. She drew strange symbols all over her books. Would spend hours staring at the skies if she was waiting for something. Her parents were terrified. They didn't know what to do. Then one day everything changed. Dorothy was 4 years old when her parents took her to the British museums. Was bored at first, dragging her feet, yawning until they reached the Egyptian exhibit. Sudden Dorothy changed, shed, let go of her mother's hand, ran straight to the Egyptian started kissing their feet, started crying, started yelling at people, take off your shoes, you are in the presence of gods. Her mother was horrified, but Dorothy wasn't. Donish ran from statue to statue, touching them, whispering to them. Then stopped frozen, in front of a glass cassinazuas, a mummy. Dorothy stared, her body shaking, her eyes witty. Her mother picked her up, trying to take her away. Dorothy screamed, and then in a voice that was not her own, shed, these are my people. Dorothy's parents dragged her out of the museum. But something had awakened. Chef became obsessed with Egypt. She read every book she could. Fench studied hieroglyphics for hours. Her parents asked her what she was doing. She said, I am trying to remember. Then one day she found a picture in a magazine. It was a temple in Egypt, Temple of Seti. Dorothy Frazashi pointed at the picture and said, this is my home. Her mother laughed. No, Dorothy, that's Egypt. Dorothy shook her head. No, it is my home, but where are the trees, where are the gardens? She knew this place even, though she had never been there. As Dorothy grew older, memories became strange. Fergus began writing in Egyptian hieroglyphics fluently, though she had never been taught. Spoke of her past lives, said her name had been Bentrashichi, had been a priestess in the temple of Setish, had fallen in love with Pharaoh Seti and, because of this forbidden love, had died young, and Nosh had been reborn. When Dorothy was 27 years old, she finally traveled to Egypt. She visited the temple of Seti. Ish walked through the halls with her eyes closed, and she knew where everything was said, pointed to a wall, and said, there is a hidden room behind this. The archaeologists laughed, but years later they discovered the hidden room exactly where she said it was. Remembered things no historian knew, and every time they checked it was right. Dorothy never left Egypt again. She lived the rest of her life in Abydos, near the temple. She became a respected Egyptologist. That she always said she wasn't just studying history, she was remembering it. She spent her life waiting, hoping that one day she would be reunited with her past. She died in 1981, and many believe that she finally found her way home. What does this mean? Dorothy's story defies logico. Did she remember a temple she had never seen? How did she write in hieroglyphics without being taught? How did she know about hidden chambers that archaeologists had not discovered? Is this proof of reincarnation, or did she tap into a knowledge beyond human understanding? Science has no explanation, but one thing is certain: Dorothy Idi's story remains one of the greatest mysteries of all. Timino Telmedo. You still want to go deeper? Because I haven't even touched on other cases of past life memories that defy science. Hidden ancient beliefs about reincarnation in the Bibled, lost knowledge of past lives that some cultures have preserved. Legao want to go even deeper. Let's take this to the next level. Becca's Dorothy Idi's case is not the only one. There are other real-life cases of people remembering past lives. Some of them are children. Some of them reveal hidden knowledge that no one else could know, and some of them challenge everything we believe about life, death, and the afterlife, the science of reincarnation. The evidence they don't want you to see. Most people think reincarnation is just a belief, but what if I told you there is scientific research that suggests it's real? For over 50 years, scientists have been studying cases of past life memories, and the results are shocking. One of the most famous researchers is Dr. Ian Stevenson, professor of psychiatry at the University of Virginia. Spent decades studying children who claimed to remember past lives, and he found over 2,500 cases that could not be explained. One, the boy who was a fighter pilot, James Leininger's Leininger, was 2 years old when he started having nightmares every night. He would wake up screaming. Parents asked him what was wrong, and he said, "The plane is on fire. The little man can't get out." He told Temhei was a fighter Pilot's plane had been shot down by the Japanese and he had died in the crashes. Parents thought it was just his imagination, but then James started giving details. Said his name was Jamaishi, flew a Corsair. He took off from a ship called the NATO Ma. His father was Shockadbecker's USS Natoma Bay, was a real aircraft carrier from World War II, and there was a real pilot named James Hustanwo had died exactly the way little James described. Ho did a 2-year-old know all of this? To the girl who remembered being murdered, Shanti Devi in the 1930s. A little girl in India named Shanti Devi started speaking about her past lives, told her parents, "I used to live in Mathura. My husband's name was Kedarnath, and I died while giving birth." Her parents didn't believe her, so they took her to Mathura, city she had never visited, and she recognized everything she found. Her old house recognized her past life husband, and she knew intimate details about them. Nath, the man she claimed was her husband, confirmed everything she said. Who could she know this? 3. The man who solved his own murdering a small village in Syria. A young boy was born with a red birthmark on his forehead. 1. He learned to speak. He told his family, "I was murdered in my past life. Someone hit me in the head with an axe." His family took him to the nearby village where he claimed to have lived, and their hell led them to a house, pointed at a man, and said, "That was my neighbor. He killed me." The man's face turned police boy, then led them to a buried skeleton with a cracked skull, and next to its murder weapon. Neighbor confessed a 3-year-old had just solved his own murder from a past life. Hidden knowledge. What religions really say about reincarnation? Any people think Christianity rejects reincarnation, but ancient texts suggest this wasn't always the case. Here's what history tells us. 1. The early Christians and reincarnation. There are early Christian writings that mention reincarnation. Of the most famous is from Origen, 185 to 253 AD. He was one of the first Christian theologians, and he wrote, "The soul has neither beginning nor end, it passes from world to world in different bodies." Origen believed that souls were eternal, that they returned in new bodies over many lifetimes. But centuries later his teachings were declared heresy, were erased from Christian doctrine to Jesus' hidden teachings. There are verses in the Bible that hint at reincarnation. Matthew 11:14. Jesus says, "And if you are willing to accept it, John the Baptist is Elijah who was to come." This suggests that John the Baptist was the reincarnation of Elijah. Jesus' disciples asked him in John 9:22, "Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?" How could a man sin before he was born, unless had lived before? 3. Reincarnation in other religions. Hinduism. teaches that the soul is reborn based on karma. Buddhism teaches that life is a cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. Ancient Egyptians believed in the transmigration of souls. Druids of Celtic Europe taught that the soul is immortal and returns in new bodies. Reincarnation is one of the oldest spiritual beliefs in the world, and modern science is now finding evidence that supports it. What does this mean for us? Dorothy Eda James, Leininger Ashanti Devithi, boy who solved his own murder. These cases defile Egyptians cannot explain them, but they all suggest one thing: we have lived before and we may live again. So, what does that mean for us? If reincarnation is wealth and life is not just about this one moment, it is part of a much larger journey that has been happening for lifetimes. And the question is, what are we here to learn? For the final question, how many times have we lived? What if this is not your first life? What if you've had hundreds, thousands, maybe millions of lifetimes? What if your dreams here, fears here, unexplained knowledge here, memories from another life? And what if you could remember them? Because some people have used ancient techniques to unlock past life memories, and what they found changed their lives forever. To want to go even deeper, let's go beyond just hearing stories. Let's talk about how you can unlock the truth for yourself. What if I told you that you might have lived before, and that there are ways to remember your past lives, ways to unlock memories that are buried deep in your soul? Let's explore the ancient techniques that can help you see beyond this life and maybe even discover who you really are. How to unlock your past life memories. Most people go through life never remembering their past, but there are ways to awaken those hidden memories throughout history. Ancient cultures have used specific methods to recall past lives. Here's how you can do it. 1. Past life regression. The deepest form of memory recall. Of the most powerful methods is past life regression. This is a technique where you enter a deep meditative state and allow your subconscious mind to bring back past life memories. Dr. Brian Weiss, a famous psychiatrist, used past life regression on his patients, and what he found shocked him. People recalled detailed memories of past lives, languages they had never learned, names, places, and events that were historically accurate. Some even recalled the moment they didn't, what happened after death. To try this yourself, you can find a past life regression therapist. Listen to guided hypnosis recording practice, deep meditation focused on past life recall. The key is to relax your mind and let memories surface naturally. To dream recall the memories hidden in your sleep. Many past life memories appear in dreams, but most people ignore them. Have you ever had a dream where you were someone else, in a different time, a different place, wearing clothes you've never seen, speaking a language you don't know? These might not be just dreams, they could be glimpses of your past. Access these memories. Try this. Keep a dream journal and write everything you remember. Bed. Tell yourself, tonight, I will remember my past lives. Look for patterns in your dreams, repeating places, people, or events. Your dreams might be trying to tell you something, you just have to listen. 3. Fears and phobias, signs of a past life trauma. Have you ever had a fear that makes no sense? A phobia that has no explanation? For example, a fear of water, even though you've never had a bad experience with it. Fear of heights, but you've never fallen. Fear of fire, but you've never been burned. Many researchers believe that unexplained fears can come from past life trauma. Person who drowned in a past life may have an intense fear of water. Terror. Person who died in battle may have a fear of loud noises. Key is to recognize your fears and ask yourself, where did this fear come from? The answer might not be from this life, but from one long ago. For déjà vu. When your soul recognizes something first, we've all felt that strange feeling of déjà vu, like you've been somewhere before, like you've met someone before. Even though it's impossible, some believe déjà vu is your soul recognizing something from a past life. For example, you visit a new city and you already know the streets. You meet someone for the first time and you feel like you've known them forever. You hear a piece of music and it feels familiar, but you don't know why. These could be hints from your past. Pay attention. Manure. Soul might be trying to tell you something. 5 childhood memories. When the past hasn't faded, yet many children remember past lives, but as they grow older, the memories for death. Think about your early childhood. Did you ever talk about a place you've never been? Say strange names that had no meaning? Have imaginary friends that felt too real? If you still have early childhood memories that seem out of place, could be fragments of a past life. That's why many spiritual traditions say a child is closest to their past life before the age of 7. And some children, like Dorothy Eady, never forget what happens after death. Secrets from near-death experiences. Thousands of people have had near-death experiences, NDEs, and they all report the same strange adventure. What people say happens after you die. You leave your body, you can see yourself lying there, airy tunnel of light appears, you feel drawn to it. Meet a presence, some call it God, some call it a spirit, Guido C. Your entire life flash before your eyes. You are given a choice to stay or to return. Some people are told, your time is not yet, you must go back. And they return to life with new knowledge, new abolitions, and a new understanding that death is not the. And some even say they saw glimpses of their next life if their soul was preparing for another journey. Soul families. Why we meet the same people in every life. Have you ever met someone and felt an instant connection, like you've known them forever, like they are more than just a friend? This could be because of soul familiar's idea that we reincarnate with the same souls over and over again, playing different roles each time. Your best friend in this life might have been your brother, in a past life your child now may have been your parent before. Your greatest enemy in this life may have been your closest ally. Befaru are all learning different lessons. Some teams return together to help each other grow. Also, the next time you meet someone and feel that deep, unexplainable connection, ask yourself, have we met before? The answer might be older than time itself. The final question, what is our true purpose? Now you know how to unlock past life memories. What happens after death? We meet the same souls over and over again, but here's the real question, why are we here? What is the purpose of reincarnation? Some say it's about karma. We must correct our mistakes from past lives. Some say it's about learning that each life teaches us something new, and some believe it's about ascending fat. We keep reincarnating until we reach enlightenment. We remember who we truly are until the cycliliite. You want to go even deeper? Then let's push past everything we think we know and uncover the truth that was hidden for centuries. Reincarnation is not just about past lives. It's about the entire system of existence. The question is not just who were we before. The real question is are we here at all? Let's go deeper than ever before. The cycle of reincarnation. The hidden system of existence for thousands of years. Spiritual traditions have taught that life is not a straight line, it is a cyclic loop that repeats over and over. We are born, we live, you do return. This process is called samsara in Hinduism and Buddhism. It means the cycle of death and rebirth. But here's the shocking part, most of us don't even know we're trapped in it. And according to some ancient teachings, there might be a way to escape what happens between lives. The time between incarnation. Shave, you ever wondered what happens after we die, but before we are born again? Some people who have experienced near-death experiences claim to remember what they say, the life review. You relive every moment of your past life. Vith Council of Elders, you meet spiritual beings who guide youth choice. You are shown different possible lives for your next reincarnation. Forgetting before you are born, your past life memories are they erased? Because if we remembered everything, we wouldn't learn. This is why only a few people like Dorothy Eady break through the veil. Remember Evan, though they weren't supposed, Toyi, who controls reincarnation. The ancient mysteries of the soul trap theory is where things get even darker. Some ancient texts suggest that reincarnation is not natural, that something or someone is forcing us to return. This is called the soul trap theory, and it suggests that Earth is a prison for souls, that after death, we are tricked into coming back instead of moving on. Mara, pulled back into the cycle. Some say this is done by false beings of light, who appear as guides, a system that feeds on human energy, a forced reincarnation process meant to keep us This be why some ancient traditions focus on breaking free from the cycle. Why Buddhism, Gnosticism, and even some Christian mystics taught that the goal is to escape. What if reincarnation isn't a lesson, but a cage? For the exit, how to break free from reincarnation. If reincarnation is a trafo, do we break free? Ancient spiritual traditions give us clues. Here's what they teach. Awareness. The first step is to realize you are in a cycle. Mastery of emotion. Negative energy, fear, anger, attachment, keeps us trapped. Spiritual awakening. Raising our consciousness might allow us to break the loop's final choice. At the moment of death, we must recognize the trick and refuse to return. This is why some spiritual masters disappear instead of dying. Why some saints and enlightened beings claim to have ended the cycle because they remembered saw through the illusion and they broke free. What happens after escaping the cycle? Here's the final question. If we break free from reincarnation, where do we go? Some say we return to our true home in the universe. You become part of a higher reality beyond Earth. Join the source of all existence. But here's the most mysterious part. Some who have escaped have come back not because they were forced, but because they chose to. Became teachers, guides, spiritual masters to help the rest of us remember best. The truth is IZVE always had the power to leave. Oh, just forgot. The final question, are you ready to remember? Now you know the true cycle of reincarnation. What happens between livists? Dark theory that suggests reincarnation might be a trapped path to breaking free, but now you have to ask yourself, are you ready to remember who you really are? Because if everything is about to change,